thing I remember about Grandpa most is how loving he was, because he used to say he could only use 200 words in a day, so he didn't have much to say, but he always showed me how much he loved me. He even put a little banner in my closet that says, "I love you," and it never came down. It stayed stuck up there, and it's still there, and it's been there maybe 20 years, and it's just some kind of tape up there holding it. But whenever I open the closet, I see that he told me he loved me, and I did feel like he really loved me. And I know he loved all of you, because he always said that family was what he loved most. Each one of you, he had special thoughts about each one of you, like Julian was the first grandchild, and he loved, especially he told me how much he loved playing racquetball with Julian. And then came Gabe, and he loved keeping all the stats, and the swimming stats with Gabe. Of course, he loved all the times you were younger than that too, but most recently he talked about that. And with Gabe, Evan, he loved the fact that you are interested in everything and trying everything. With Izzy, he loved playing that surprise game with the little doll, the bad baby, and he loved the way he would laugh at everything. And with Ellie, he loved how you were so curious about bugs, and you'd come over and be brave and grab hold of those fig beetles and everything else. That he loved that about you. And so he loved us all in different ways. And I know that he loved hiking, and he said he would like his ashes to be here somewhere where he hiked. So I'm going to do the first one and see how it works.
Maybe pour it low to the ground.
Maybe
Yeah,
over
low to the ground.
in that
I'm
corner,
gonna
Mom.
unzip it.
Or down by the corner, yeah.
So then if it blows, it doesn't blow.
No, those are good. Oh God. Why someone actually goes down there and picks up that pig's ashes?
Ooh, careful. Whoa! Oh, you got to hold it. But you just have it.
Then I'll take my own bag.
No, we couldn't. He wanted.
Then I want my
He
own
thought
bag.
only Tim would do this hike, and he said, he said, Tim, will you carry me to Inspiration Point and drop some of my ashes? And he would be so surprised that all of you came.
You'd be delighted.
All of you. We carried him here, and now we'll go back with memories of him.
What I like about Grandpa is everything. And he was nice, and he always played with us, and the chair he always sat in, and how he always liked to eat candy, and we always gave him more candy, and he always
There you go, let it out. If you have a bug on your neck. Yeah, there you go. It's close.
What I like about Grandpa is that he always used to hide a bad baby, like funny places like the roof, the toilet, the sink, and also that he always liked to mess with us.
He did.
What I remember about Grandpa is that he loved us very much, and that I like the pad baby because I remember he was on the toilet and having to go to the bathroom, and probably those caterpillars that we found have already seen him.
Maybe.
Maybe.
The little young.
Some of his ashes on the caterpillars. He's probably seen lots of caterpillars.
When you Julian or Gabriel next, since all the grandkids are going.
Gabriel. He's the next candidate.
What I remember most about Grandpa is how loving and thoughtful he always was. No matter what he did, no matter what he said, he always meant it. And his actions, they always meant a lot. Like how for Halloween he'd always eat the Tootsie Rolls. Like I know we like Tootsie Rolls. Why did he do that? I don't know, but he did. And he'd always be doing things like that all the time, no matter what, and like no matter how he felt, he'd always be doing things for others. And that's what I loved about Grandpa.
This one's Grandpa. Yes. Because he's so slow and cool. And he has a lot of hairs. And he's like.
What I remember most about Grandpa is all his creations, his structures. Every year for Christmas, that would be the thing I would look forward to the most. And then he taught me how to play racquetball. And he tried to help me, give me special tips to beat my dad.
And they work.
He came to all my swim meets. He gave me advice after all my races. And then he helped me with my college essays. So yeah, that's what I remember.
Got one for me.
Yep.
Alright, what to say about Grandpa Cone? I met him when I was 18, and my dad had been dead for 5 years. And I started calling him Dad, because I missed having a dad that was alive. And, you know, he's the guy that taught me everything I know about being a dad as an adult. He's always been my father figure. He taught me everything I know how to be a man since I was 18. And when I saw him become a grandpa, I thought that looked really cool. I used to think I wasn't going to live long enough to be a grandpa, but he made being a grandpa look like so much fun. I wanted to live long enough to be a grandpa. So my kids remember I've told them lots of time that you guys, I don't care whether you're gay or straight, but you got to have kids because I want to be a grandpa one day. I told them that several times. And I love him. I'm glad he taught Julian how to beat me in racquetball. He was so competitive. I loved the way when we would play board games, he said he couldn't play because there'd be an earthquake. We always do that. It was always so funny. And I loved how we'd go crabbing for him on his birthday up in Saturno, and how much he loved it up there, and how we rated the sunsets. There's so many things, you know. He was always loving. His actions always spoke louder than his words, but he always cared about everybody. I remember he used to make fun of me for some of the races I do. He'd give me a hard time. He's like, "You gonna do another race that's even longer?" You know, like, haven't it been long enough? But then when I did my double Ironman, he's like texting back and forth Mariah, calculating what pace I need to do so I could finish. So even though he gave me a hard time, he always wanted to see me be successful. Like, he wanted to see all of us to be successful. So anyway.
You're gonna try and hold together. Well, I have a lot of dads. each one taught me something different and was very special to me in a different way. And Dick was the one who taught me how to do things for myself and do them for others and build things and work ethic, and also how to be mindful in a moment. And I always felt connected to him with my mom used to always take us to the beach and we'd collect seashells, and I always felt a connection to Dick doing the same thing with driftwood. I loved trying to find the perfect one that I thought he would enjoy, because I just felt like that was just a kind of special ritual that I could create with him, that I know lots of people did with him. But I just always felt loved by him. I had a lot of dads, but he always was just the same. It's like he was just the same as my other dads who I'd known forever, and I'm lucky that I got to be a part of his life for 20 years and get to learn something new from that dad of mine. So you consider him one of my 3 dads.
I feel really grateful to have this experience with all of you and to do this for Dad. It just feels right. You know, for us growing up and then for grandkids, he always had the up-down challenge hikes that were like, just to him, that like the rite of passage that everybody had to go through, like to do something that was hard and to be able to do it and to get through it, and you know, to trust yourself that you could do it. And I think just growing up and becoming a man, like so many things that I learned from him without even knowing, just from watching the kind of person that he was, the values that he had, and the things that he could do for himself and for other people, that I find myself doing now, and without even kind of really knowing that I decided to. And in that way, just it feels so powerful to know that he lives on, and so much of that he created for himself, because I think he didn't really have the best relationship with his dad. And so he created something really special. I feel like his legacy is in our family. It's going to be another great thing to be able to come here and think of him whenever I need to, and that we'll be able to do that on Saturna too. Anytime that we're there and collecting driftwood, or rowing a boat to Cabbage Island, or going on a hike, you know, we can think of him and he'll be with us. And I'm just very grateful to have him as a dad, and all of you as family.
I mean, we are the human beings that we are because of the parents that we have. And, you know, I was thinking about all of the ways that Dad would nudge me, you know, into the kind of human being he wanted me to be. And I watched him nudge everyone else in similar ways. I remember when I did something that was kind of aligned to what he saw as a value, he would call it out. And when I didn't, he would call that out too. And I think that like the first time that I came here, I was 5. And my dad had come home and he like couldn't handle like whatever was going on at home, and he got in the car and was going to take off. And I imagine he must have come to places like this to just sort of get respite when it was all too much. And I begged him to come with me, for him to take me with him, and he did, and we did an overnight. And he taught me about high altitude cooking. I was 5. I had this backpack he had made, and it had like this embroidered straps. But I was always daddy's girl, and always found strength. And like any time in my path, I've wondered about, should I do this or should I do that? I've always asked myself, what would my father want for me? And it's gonna be, I know that he's in me, and so that will continue to chart my path moving forward. He'll be so missed. It was the greatest gift to see him with his grandkids. I remember in November, he was talking to the nurse. He was very talkative with the nurses, and he said that family was his religion, and that's the only thing he needed. And he felt so shored up by having all of us with him and having that relationship. And I think he really appreciated at the very end to have that time with Jeremy, to like reconnect, to be dialysis buddies, and to have that place in his heart where he and Jeremy could finally have this deep connection with poetry and with their struggle with the disease in a way that was like harmonious and felt whole to him. He would talk about that in the rides when I would pick him up from dialysis. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to close it because I don't think it should be closed.
I have a poem.
Mom has a poem. Great.
Yeah, Grandpa wrote a lot of poems. One of the things, most of the poems he wrote when he first had the kidney failure and was going to get a transplant, and that period of time was really hard, and all of his kids were little, and I don't know how he found time to write so many poems, but he wrote lots and lots of poems. And I think at that time he was trying to figure out who he was as a person, and one of the things he said most recently was that he felt like as he was getting sicker and as he couldn't hear hardly and couldn't see, only had the one eye, and he said, I'm just disappearing. And I don't think he's really, I mean, that was his feeling about himself. But for me and for all of us, I know he's not disappearing. In fact, he's with us all the time. All the things that he said will be like Nana. We'll remember Nana said this and did that. We'll remember that. If we come hiking, we'll be thinking about him. And in our homes, we'll see all the things he made. He may not have talked much, but he left so much of himself everywhere that we look. My house, your house, all of our houses. He had so much fun building. Every time he thought of something for somebody or thought about somebody, it was something he wanted to make for them. So, you know, from Evan's airplane and the tree houses and all of those things, he loved doing that, and he loved having that ability to do that. So he built a lot in our lives. Anyway, one of the poems that he wrote was just the last few weeks of his life. This one is about grandchildren, and he was feeling like he couldn't talk much anymore and he couldn't hear. So he said, in a silent world, I look upon my grandchildren with my good eye, my only eye, marveling at how sweet they are, facing the threatening future with naive enthusiasm for an unknown tomorrow didn't know what the future holds for all of us, but he loved that you are not afraid, and you are such wonderful people, all of you. He was so proud of all of you. All the qualities that you have. Yeah, he really loves you. And he's with us now wherever we go. And thank you for all the things that you've said on Grandpa's behalf. I know, hope that he heard them all. So we'll do something again on Saturn. That would be fun next year.
After voting. too.
Oh yes, we're gonna do something for voting, because that
Oh, I
was
think you
something
said voting.
very important to
Voting.
him.
We'll do voting and then voting.
Yeah,
Should I stop?
we'll have a voting party. Talked about how
Jimmy.
Dad was so happy that he could be dialysis buddies and share poetry and share their lives together with Jeremy and him. He was also so thrilled about the arrival of Willow and how much that meant for Jeremy and how much that meant for their marriage and our family, that we're all going to have one more grandchild to dote over. And he was just thrilled that Willow came into our lives. And I know she may never meet him personally, but she'll hear lots about him and how much he loved her even before she got to know him. And so I just wanted to say that she's a very important part of this event as well.
Okay, you can go.
Yes, and I wanted to add one more thing too about Talene. She felt so sad that she couldn't do this hike with us because she was heading out and Willow wouldn't be able to make it with us, but and of course we wanted Jeremy to be able to be here, but that wasn't possible. But we did do something special last night that meant a lot to me, and I hope for Talene too. We put the ashes in the little bags that we would use today, and I think she felt, and I felt like she was with us and part of this ceremony in that way. And we had a real hug, not an air hug.
Uh-oh.
We had masks on. We
Okay.
turned our heads the opposite
Okay,
ways,
good.
but it was a
followed your
real
directions.
tight hug, and it felt really good.
Yeah.